You're live. Good evening, residents of Templeton. For you that don't know me, my name is John Graves, and I'm your new town moderator. At this time, I'd like to call the annual town meeting to order. We'll go over a few things for safety reasons. The fire exits are over here to my left, your right, and there's one here and the two behind you. If everyone could please silence their electronic devices so we can have a nice orderly meeting. And could you all please rise and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the meeting, I got a couple of special guests, and my first one up is Terry Griffiths.
You call me Never Neverland? Yes, I'm not a pirate. Yes, Bev, I'm not a pirate. Hello, everyone. Plans are underway for the tree lightings in all the villages on December 5th, kicking off in Templeton Center at 4:30. Please consider adding this tradition to your holiday calendar. Tell your neighbors and invite your family and friends. Updates will be posted on the town website at templetonmass.gov and at select board meetings. May the attitude of Thanksgiving and the spirit of Christmas unite our hearts and minds as we go forward with town meeting. Thank you. Kicking it back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Our next special guest is Mike Curry with the Merit Awards.
Hey, good evening. Mike Curry, Chair for the Select Board. Hey, this evening we want to recognize some town employees that have gone above and beyond the call of duty, and we wanted to make sure that they were recognized for their community, to see them and all the hard work that went into a process that gave us the Special Merit Awards for 2021. The first award, could I have Paul McAuliffe come up to the stage? Paul, are you out there? Okay, Mr. Souza, could you come up and accept on his behalf? Yep. Let me take. Okay, this is the Special Merit Award for 2021. This is to recognize Paul McAuliffe for efficiency, for his creative, out-of-the-box thinking and can-do attitude with the Department of Public Works, as well as the respect he gives to his fellow co-workers. Paul is always willing to do what it takes to get the job done well and correctly, and takes issues as they come in stride. Signed under my hand, November 3rd, 2021. The best part about it is the check. Okay, next. No, don't want to do that. Okay. All right, for the next one, we actually had a tie. The process that went into this equates to some numerical values. So I'd like to call Mr. Steve Castle and Miss Hannah Bennett to the stage, please. Here she comes. Special Merit Award for 2021. This is to recognize Hannah Bennett and Steve Castle for communications, for her commitment to exemplary communication, and her fast learning skills within Templeton Community Television due to her hard work broadcasting meetings and producing events with new technologies and testing them on unfamiliar systems during the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. Her and his help to the various boards and committees, as well as hers and his cooperative demeanor, have not gone unnoticed. Signed this under my hand this day, November 3rd, 2021. So accepting will be the certificate and the check. Hannah, you're taking them for both? Yep, Hannah will accept for both herself and Steve. She's taking pictures right with her. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Best part right there. Okay. And lastly, so this evening I know our next award recipient cannot be here, so if I could ask Lori Witta to come up to accept on her behalf. Rhonda is out of the office. So, our Pinnacle of Excellence employee for fiscal year 2021. This is to recognize Rhonda Parenteau for her hard work and positive attitude. Rhonda ran her office with development services well at a time of historic growth in the town, all while providing needed assistance to residents and her fellow co-workers. Her assistance at the COVID-19 vaccination clinics, huge, did not go unnoticed. Signed under my hand this day, November 3rd, 2021. Thank you to all of our Special Merit Award recipients. That's a job well done. Thank you very much. Back over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. So I just want to let everyone know that the constable's warrant was returned to the warrant, I'm sorry, was shown and it was properly posted and served. Now I have a few rules. They're in your book if you read them, but as I call each article, a motion will be read and seconded by the select board unless it is a citizen's position. We don't have any of those today. We do have one, I believe, from the advisory committee. And it will be up on the screen here for everyone to see. I'm not going to go through all the rules. Just number 9, that if you want to speak, as soon as I acknowledge you, just your name and your address, and you can go ahead and ask a question or make a statement or anything else like that. So I guess without further ado, we can start off with Article 1.
Mr. Moderator, Article 1, Fiscal Year 2022 Operating Budget Amendments, submitted by the Select Board. A majority vote required. I move to appropriate the sum of $41,900 and no cents for supplemental appropriations to the fiscal year 2021 operating budget as follows. Buildings and grounds, $13,900. Increase in heating costs and software subscription costs. Highway, $16,000. Increased cost for road line painting. Highway, $7,500. Unforeseen Baker Lane extension of street improvement. Highway, $4,500. Unforeseen drainage failure on Royalston Road. And to meet said appropriation by a transfer of said sum from certified free cash.
Do we have any motions? Second motion. All right. Advisory? Did anybody second it?
Everyone hear me now? Everyone hear me now? Okay, there we go. Matthew Rivard, Chairman, Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on the article to the fall special town meeting, the advisory committee voted as follows: yes 6, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The advisory committee recommends a yes vote on Article 1.
All right, I'm going to open the floor up to any discussion.
Matthew Rivard, Chairman, Advisory Committee. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of the article being adopted by town meeting. The committee does recommend to the town that in the future they please separate all items being asked for in funding. For example, if you look at in building and grounds, there are 2 costs in that particular item. One for the subscription costs and then the second cost. In the future, we would recommend the town please separate those costs out into 2 separate lines within the article. Otherwise, we do recommend the article for adoption.
Good evening, Dana Blaze, 20 Turner Street. I like the way the highway's being run now. I think our roads are getting better, and whatever it takes to keep it going, I'm all in favor. I'm definitely voting for this article.
Do we have any further discussion on Article 1? All right, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All in favor, all against, say no. All right, this article passed unanimously at 6:12. Okay, ready for Article 2?
Mr. Moderator, Article 2. I move to amend the FY22 capital budget accepted as Article 17 at the 2021 annual town meeting by striking SUV and inserting in its place truck.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Advisory?
Try this again. Hello? One, two. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Might as well just move the chair up there. Stay right there.
Evidently, I'm just going to have to sit on the end of the table this evening. Matthew Rivard, Chairman, Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 2 to the fall special town meeting, the Advisory Committee voted as follows: yes 6, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent.
Yeah. He's got electric current in him.
The Advisory Committee recommends a yes vote on Article 2. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted at the town meeting. The committee applauds the town administrator for admitting mistakes and taking the proper actions to correct them.
Open up discussion on Article 2.
Why don't you hang on to it and then hand it to people? Good exercise.
Any discussion on Article 2? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All against, say no. All right, that article passed at 6:15.
Still on?
Okay, we're on to Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, I move to amend Chapter 22, Section 6 of the General Bylaws, review of warrant articles by the Advisory Committee by removing the sentence, "Copies of the report of the Advisory Committee shall be made available to town voters at least 2 days before town meeting and at all town meetings." The reason for this change is within our bylaws, this time period is located in 2 sections, and to reduce redundancy, we propose to remove that sentence, so you'll only find the time frame in one place. Thank you.
Do I get a second? Advisory?
On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 3 to the fall special town meeting, the advisory committee votes as follows: 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. We recommend a yes vote on this article by the town. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted at town meeting. This article eliminates redundancy in the town bylaws. Timing for the advisory committee's report to town meeting was in 2 places, here and in section 9.4. This guidance will now only be in section 9.4.
I'll open up the floor to discussion. All right, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, say no. That article passed at 6:17. Unanimously, do you have it? I don't have it. Okay, Article 4.
Mr. Moderator, I move to amend Chapter 9 of the General Bylaws as follows. Section 9-3, to remove, the advisory committee chairman shall notify the moderator to determine if there are any interested town registered voters to fill the vacancy. The moderator shall be given 30 days to fill the vacant position by appointing a person to complete the unexpired term in the event the moderator is unable to fill the vacancy. We would add, if the advisory committee cannot conduct business due to a lack of seated members for a quorum, the moderator may appoint to the advisory committee any registered voters showing interest until a quorum has been seated. Also, Section 9.4 would be revised to remove the committee shall report to the community at least 5 days before the annual town meeting and change it back to 2 days, and to remove at least 4 days before a special town meeting and return it to 2 days.
Because this is a kind of a touchy one, I'm going to recuse myself.
Our moderator is unable to preside over Article 4 due to a conflict of interest. Therefore, pursuant to town meeting times, I will preside over the election of a temporary moderator for Article 4. I will accept nominations from any registered voter in town. Do I hear any nominations?
Justice Graves, 90 Queen Lake Road. I nominate myself, Justice Graves, to be temporary moderator over Article 4 for this town meeting.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Can you please, everyone in favor of Justice Graves being the temporary moderator for Article 4, please say yes? Yes. All those opposed? No. Okay. Justice, you will be the moderator until the article. Do you swear to faithfully, impartially, according to your best skill and judgment, perform the duties of temporary moderator for Article 4 for this fall town meeting?
I do.
Okay. And you're also going to need to get a second from that.
Okay. All right, so there's been a motion laid on the table. I need a second for that motion. Going once on a second for the motion. Going twice on a second for the motion.
Seconded.
The motion has been duly made and seconded. Before we begin discussion, I will let you know that starting off, I will not allow anybody to move the question until I so declare, and I will now open up the floor. Well, actually, Advisory Committee, what is your recommendation on the motion?
On a motion to recommend a yes vote on the article to the fall special town meeting, the Advisory Committee voted as follows: 5 yes, 1 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. Comments in favor of the article. The Advisory Committee needs to be independent of town oversight in order to function properly as an oversight committee. This article reduces the moderator's powers with regards to appointments for the Advisory Committee and makes the committee a more independent board while leaving the ability for the moderator to appoint in case of a lack of quorum as a safety net. Advisory Committee recruits its own members generally, the moderator historically does not. Massachusetts general law does not grant the moderator any powers other than to run the town meetings. This article aligns us with many of our comparison communities and with our historical bylaw. This article also changes the time frame for the Advisory Committee to report to town meeting from 5 days to 2 for annual town meeting and from 4 days to 2 for special town meeting. As currently written, it is extremely difficult for Advisory Committee to make the timelines, and it failed to do so once in fiscal year 2021 for the annual town meeting 2021. These adjusted timelines will make it easier for the committee to perform its duties to the town and to provide a complete recommendation document.
All right. Mr. Bennett?
I apologize.
Oh, you have one more.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I apologize, Mr. Moderator. We do have comments against in this case, and I will read those as well. The comments against the article are that, and this is from the member of the Advisory Committee who voted no, I believe there should be checks and balances in the bylaws, and this article would remove one of those checks and balances by minimizing the role of the moderator in appointing persons to the Advisory Committee. I am opposed to the changes in section 9.3, but not opposed to the changes in section 9.4.
All right, thank you to the Advisory Committee. Mr. Bennett, do you have that motion in writing? All right, the motion has now been duly made and seconded. We have our Advisory Committee recommendations. Before I open this up for the floor, I will repeat again that during this deliberation period, until I so declare, I will not allow the question to be moved. Unless there is no discussion, then we will go to a vote. Do we have any discussion on the floor? Yes, Mr. Rivard.
Mr. Moderator, I move to divide the question on Article 4 as follows.
Can you please state your name and address, please?
I apologize. Matthew Rivard, 270 Gray Road, Advisory Committee Chairman. I move to divide the question on Article 4 as follows. The revisions to Section 9.3 of the bylaws will be considered Article 4A. The revision to Section 9.4 of the bylaws will be considered Article 4B.
All right, we have a motion to divide the question. Do we have a second for that division? All right. Do you have that in writing, Mr. Rivard?
I do.
All right, so the motion to divide has been properly made and seconded. I am going to turn to council real quickly for just a moment. So in order for it to be divided, it has to pass, and then we go into each part of the division, correct? Correct, okay. How much does it pass by? Is it by majority or two-thirds? Majority vote, okay. Okay, so before we can discuss the article in question, we are, because of the motion made on the table and duly seconded, we are opening up to discussion whether or not we are going to divide the question into two parts as proposed. So, do we have any discussion on whether or not we will divide the question? Going once for discussion? Going twice. 3 times, having no discussion, we will go to a vote on the division of the question. So, on the motion to divide the question on Article 4, to make the revisions to Section 9.3 considered first, and the revisions to Section 9.4 considered second, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those in opposition? All right, I declare that passed at 6:25 p.m. So the question has now been properly divided. We will consider the revisions to Section 9.3 first as the motion on the floor. Do we have any discussion on the revisions to Section 9.3 of the current divided question? And could you please state your name and address?
Mr. Moderator, Mike Dixon, Templeton Center, 465 Patriots Road. Although I understand what we're trying to do here, I don't know, I am concerned that if the advisory committee were to recruit its own members, we would end up with an advisory board that may be all of this a like mind. I think that by having the moderator assign or recommend people for the advisory board, that we would have a better cross-section of the community represented. It's just a fear I have. We've seen similar things happen on the advisory board in the past, and I'm not in favor of this.
All right. Do we have any further discussion on the floor on the divided question, Part 1?
John Graves, 90 Queen Lake Road, resident. I just wanted to speak a little bit on this question. So I'll speak to the people. So I'm the town moderator, and I was appointing people, and I have been appointing people. And what happened was, all of a sudden, well, I'll read it to you. I get this. From Matthew Rivard, the chairman of the board of their committee. Hello, John. Please hold off on appointment of this person. I have spoken to the advisory committee membership, and they would like the opportunity to vote on this person per the town bylaws, as we have passed 30 days on one of our vacancies. We do have that opportunity to do that. Well, they didn't under this bylaw that we're under now. When someone resigns, within 30 days, I can appoint anyone who comes forward that wants to be on the committee. Now, I got a few problems with this email. First of all, why are you trying to get me to let you vote when you don't have the right to? And secondly, I have spoken to the advisory committee membership. Well, they didn't have a meeting. This was on Thursday, July 8th at 10:33 a.m. So I don't understand how he spoke to them about somebody without having a meeting, but maybe that's possible. Maybe you can do that. But I just want to let everybody know that I have appointed 4 people, and the first 3 were within less than 2 days, and the last one was within 5 days. And at one point, when I appointed someone, I actually saved them from having a quorum. And when I appoint, I can appoint them on a Friday. They can get their stuff from Carol on Monday, and they can come down and be sworn in, and they can vote if there's a meeting that Thursday. The way that it's set up for the after 30 days with them, they just had one. They have to meet, and they have to okay that person. And once that person's appointed, they have to get their paperwork and everything in and get sworn in, and they can't vote at that meeting, but they can vote at the next meeting, and that could be 2 weeks away. It all depends on where the Thursdays fall. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Curry, you may go up.
Good evening. Mike Curry, 491 Hubbardston Road. I recommend a no vote on Article 4A. It's correct? 4A?
Yes.
Okay. I recommend a no vote. Although I understand the desire for the committee to want to be able to have the flexibility to choose members or to get people in, to give them a full house of 7 members and to avoid not having a quorum, I understand that. I think there are better ways, and I do agree with the 2 previous speakers on we do not need self-appointed committees. There should be, I believe, in the distension vote from the advisory committee, they used the term checks and balances. I believe that there is some way where we could have some external, even if we did not have a moderator, and we have some strong moderators coming through, from Derek Hall now to John Graves. In the lack of that, there should be another person, town clerk or otherwise, that should be available to make sure that the advisory committee has the proper members. Again, I do not believe that they should self-appoint, so I recommend a no on Article 4A. Thank you.
All right, you can come up.
Tony DeJoy, Minuteman Drive. As a former member of the advisory committee, this has been a topic many times. Most of us have voted it down. I'm not speaking for the current board, but the real thing is, if someone wants to join, if they have someone that wants to join, they could submit their paper. It can get to the moderator in a very quick time, probably faster than they can appoint it, depending on when their meetings fall. And this way you still have those checks and balances. So they're not a board of, like it was said, like-minded people that are just going to always vote and try to steer the town. We have people that are trying to steer the town. Their job is to advise the citizens in what they're supposed to do. So for 3 years we went through this. We didn't agree with it. I recommend a no vote on this.
All right, Mr. Bennett.
Mr. Moderator, Jeffrey Bennett, 77 Partridgeville Road. For clarification, I'm speaking as a resident. I've been a member of both of the Board of Selectmen and the Advisory Committee. The first time I got on, I went before the committee. There was an opening. I went before them to make a case to get on. My experience is this. There were 2 members. One was very explicit. They didn't personally like me, and they voted against me, brought up, this, that, and everything. It was far and away from any qualifications as a prior member of the Board of Selectmen, for one, that I may have. And that is, to me, a concern that they don't look at. A committee could have a tendency not to look at qualifications or the person as contributing to the town, rather than if they agree or disagree with their philosophies, their thoughts, and whether they personally dislike them. And it happens. Anybody who says it doesn't is just lying to themselves and everybody else.
Mr. Bennett, please stay on the question, but you can continue.
And the bylaw in question was just changed in entirety in June of 2020. And if you're going to cherry pick things, I just think it should be passed over. And if we want to do a bylaw change on it, do a comprehensive one that more precisely spells out what their job, what their role is. There are things that they have to do by state law with Board of Selectmen. Spell that out. There would be joint meetings to be efficient, expedient, and volunteers that we have a hard time getting to serve on these committees won't have to go to 2 or 3 meetings. They can go to 1 meeting. It's done in many other communities in the state. Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone who wishes to discuss the divided question, the first part of Article 4?
Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
Wilfred Spring Advisory Committee. Let me just clarify a couple of things here. I've heard different things that I want to take and end up clarifying and letting folks know what the process has been. Since January, advisory members have gone and recruited 7 members. In January, when 2 of the members came, they were accepted by the advisory committee. This year here, we had a very unusual year. We had the chairman and the secretary of the advisory resign. The vice chair chose not to get reappointed. One member chose not to get reappointed. The two members that were voted by the last advisory committee ended up getting appointed at annual town meeting. That left the advisory committee with 3 members, not enough to do business. Right after the annual town meeting, I approached the chairman, this is the first time I had met him, and I advised him or asked him to take an joining the advisory. He hadn't been living in this community for that long, and myself and another member ended up approaching him to join. Right after that, a couple of the other members sought out 2 other people to join. He said, let me say, Mr. Reebok is now the chairman. I had not known him prior to that, so the requirement of saying that you're handpicking is not true. Right after that, we ended up having some additional openings, and like I said, the 2 members went off and sought 2 additional members. I submitted one of those, and I won't name the individual, to the moderator, which he appointed at that time. So we actually recruited, and he approved them. Every one of the ones that we submitted to him, he approved. So I can't see how he objects. Then the next one that we ended up doing was a member that's sitting on the advisory committee. We still had openings, and we recruited her, and that paperwork went to the moderator. He actually appointed that individual. So now we have the last member that I'm going to end up talking with about, that was recruited, came to the advisory committee with a proposition that was presented to the selectmen. You can, by the way, you can look at the meeting minutes for all of this that's happened. He came to us with a proposal. We ended up looking at that, and we went off to take an investigation. We saw that he was interested in town government and what's going on. He was approached by one of our members after the meeting and asked if he'd like to join. He did. He came before us. At one of our meetings, we ended up discussing with him. He told us what his background was, so we understood what it was. We asked some questions, and we voted on him as a member. In all the years that I've been on, we have never ended up having negative votes that they can end up not having something come on. It's important that they can have people that are interested in joining the advisory committee and doing the work for you, the taxpayer. If the fact that the advisory committee ends up going and recruiting people, most of them, actually right now there's 4 sitting people on here that were recommended by the advisory and appointed by moderators. I just want to point that out. There's only one individual on here that the advisory committee did not go recruit. It's been a hard time getting people to come onto the advisory, and and not letting us go out and seek people that are interested in town government is going to be a problem. It is on a number of committees that we have.
Okay, Mr. Spring, could we please move along? I understand what you're getting at, but I would like to see something new come out of this discussion. We have gone over 3 minutes.
Okay, fine.
Okay. I will, Mr. DeJoy.
Tony DeJoy, 8 Minute Man Drive. Well, Mr. Spring just made the case for voting no for this. He said they recruited people, which is great. That's usually how it happens. They fill out the paperwork, and the moderator appoints them. The moderator does look at, to make sure, the qualifications to be on the advisory committee are a registered voter in the town, or actually it's a town resident, and you can't work for the town. That's the 2 qualifications. Whether you have a background in finance or law or anything is actually irrelevant. It's helpful, and it makes you a better member of the board, but it shouldn't be a discriminating factor, and that's why the board shouldn't vote. There's checks and balances. They can submit, they can recruit, submit this form. Holly has the form. I know Holly's back there. She has the form, they can fill it out, it can be done in 2 days. So again, he really made the case for a no vote.
All right, is there any further discussion on this first part of Article 4?
Yeah, Dennis O'Brien, Ballinville Road, 259. I'd like to move the question.
I'm not accepting moving the question at this time. I believe Ms. Bartolomeo wishes to speak. I have not declared that yet.
Hi, I'm Beverly Bartolomeo. I have been on
Ms.
maybe
Bartolomeo,
South Road, Templeton.
Thank you.
Right? I haven't moved. I'm not going to unless I go out in a box. Anyway, I think that we have a real problem in this fact that there are people that do not understand what the advisory board is. The advisory board is the only board that works for you, the voter, and the taxpayer. The selectman's job is to run the town. The town council's job is to support the selectmen. When I found this, see, Massachusetts has cities and towns, has legislation that says you should have an advisory board. So I sat down this afternoon for a couple of minutes, and I was on the board first in the 70s with Judy Wilson and some of the older people. I didn't know what I was doing.
Ms. Bartolomeo,
I'm explaining something.
Could we please talk about
I'm getting there.
Section 9.2?
So,
thank you.
Then I was on one more time. It takes time to learn. What the advisory board, this is what the Association of Town Finances says. Without Finance Committee independent review, the town meeting would be at a severe handicap in voting on financial matters. When all of the recommendations are coming from one source, separation of powers was designed by our founding fathers for a reason. Defend it. I got back on the board because I watched an advisory board meeting where the members, there were 3 members, two of them, might have been somebody else, did nothing. They did not look at the budget. They did not want to do any work. They were going to rubber stamp it. When he says we recruit people, you know what that meant? I said to the lady on the end, hey, would you be interested in getting on the advisory board? She's going to live in this town a long time. She just moved here. I don't know anything about her. The man on this end has been in town.
Mr. Moderator, point of order.
This is recruiting.
I will listen to the point of order, Mrs. Griffiths.
Okay.
What is your point of order? Please state your name and address and the reason for the point of order.
Because I am more afraid of the selectmen hand-picking rubber stamps than I am of us saying...
Point of order.
You.
Ms. Bartolomeo, please. What is the point of order?
Terry Griffiths, 12 Drury Lane. The article in question has to do with recruiting their own members.
Okay. All right, so do we have any further discussion? I'm not going to say whether that point of order was well taken or not since the speaker has decided to stop. So is there any further discussion? At this point, since I think we've had quite a bit of discussion, if there's new people who want to speak, I will let you go first. Anybody else? And I will allow moving of the question at this time. You may speak.
James Toth, 141 Gray Road. Mr. Moderator, move the question.
All right, we have a motion to move the question. Do we have a second? We have a second. All right, so this is controversial. However, I don't know if it's controversial to all of you out in the audience. So we are going to do a voice vote to start. If I cannot determine it, I'm going to go straight into a hand count. So please make sure my counters are ready in the back. So all those in favor of the motion, the divided motion, to adopt the new language for section 9-3 of the bylaws to the advisory committee, please signify by saying yes. Wait a minute. Right, we have moved the question. I apologize. So we have to vote on moving the question. Correct. So let's take a step back for a moment. All those in favor of moving the question, which means we're going to go to a vote, signify by saying yes. Yes. All those in opposition?
No.
All right, that passed at 6:46. All right, so now we have to vote on the main motion, which is the divided question. We are specifically talking about section 9-3 of the general bylaws. For everybody who is in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
No. I mean, in opposition.
No.
Okay. So, just to make sure, we are going to go to a hand count. So, my counters could be ready. Everybody who is in favor, please raise your hand now. I guess I'm going to count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, you may put your hands down. All those in opposition, please raise your hands now. Okay. Put your hands down. You can put your hand down. Could you guys divide back there into either side of the corridor? Thank you. Everyone on this side, you can put your hand down. All right, you can put your hands down in the center, and then you can put your hand down over there on the far left. Girl, how are you voting?
I'm not voting.
You don't want to vote it? All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so with 8 in favor and 37 in opposition, the motion fails at 6:49 p.m. All right, so the question was divided. So we currently have another question on the floor for the section 9-4. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on that section? Discussion going once. You may go up to the microphone.
John Graves, 90 Queen Lake Road, Templeton, resident. As a resident, the advisory committee is supposed to be informing us of stuff, and how are they going to get this out to us if they don't have to report it in 2 days, instead they have 5 days? Isn't the reason for them is to get the information out for us so that we can know it and look into it ourselves a little bit, just in case we're not sure of it?
Okay. Is there any further discussion on the second part? Yes.
Matthew Rivard, Chairperson Advisory Committee. To explain the process for the people of the town. When a warrant as such as this is provided to the advisory committee, we have to do multiple things in order to provide your guidance document. So we have to hold a public pre-town meeting at which is advertised in the local newspaper and on the government website. We hold that pre-town meeting, we review all of the articles in the warrant, the appropriate department heads and people who have presented the articles come before us to answer our questions, and we vote up and down on motions to recommend the articles as such, which is what you are seeing in this document that you got in on your way in the door. Once that happens, then once we've had the pre-town meeting, then we have to come back in a regular business meeting and approve the actual document. And then we have to provide it to the town for them to provide to the people. For an annual town meeting, the timelines are a little bit more specific.
I just realized the mask is making me mumble a little bit. I apologize. For the annual town meeting, the timelines are a little bit more specific. The warrant for an annual town meeting must be provided to the advisory committee no later than 35 days prior to the scheduled date of the town meeting. There's no such requirement for a special. So in this case, there's no requirement for them to provide the warrant to us by a specific date. They just have to provide it. This warrant was provided 21 days prior to today. We were able to, with some serious finagling, get this recommendation document taken care of and approved into the town ahead of the 4-day requirement as by our bylaw. We did not do that for a town meeting last year. And in order to provide a complete document, which this committee believes that what you have in front of you is a complete recommendation document, we believe these timelines are more reasonable in order to do so.
All right, I will let the residents speak.
Tony DeJoy, 8 Minuteman Drive. Now, in this case, I'm going to actually concur with what the advisory committee is saying. There's a lot of work that goes into this. The whole purpose of the guide is for people that don't have those opportunities to attend or view the pre-town meeting. The pre-town meeting, they try to hold it about 2 weeks prior to town meeting. It just depends on when their meetings fall. So this guide is really for people that just don't have the time to do it, and it gives them a snapshot. Okay, I'm not sure about this article, but I have citizens that have recommended for it. But there are ample opportunities now with modern technology. TCTV does a great job recording all the meetings. They're available to you. They're available on YouTube, which most everybody has. So in this case, I certainly recommend that a yes vote on this.
All right, any further discussion on the second part of the divided question? Oh, yes, sorry.
Mr. Moderator, last year...
Excuse me, I name your name and address.
Spring Advisory. Last year, we did not make the timeline. The actual fall town meeting was October 26th. The recommendation went out on the 23rd. So we didn't make that timeline. This year, we actually did a lot of planning way ahead. We knew that the selectmen, just prior to 2 weeks, we knew that the selectmen were going to end up doing the warrant on the 13th. Well, if we had waited to receive it, we would have been in trouble because our next meeting was the following week. We actually put in and put into the Garden News the pre-town meeting announcement on the 16th without even getting the warrant yet. We did that. The next week, because we ended up doing it on a Saturday, we met the next Thursday, a regular meeting. We discussed it, as you heard my chairman say. He tried to end up scheduling the following week, early in the week. It was impossible. The meeting conference room was booked, so we had no chance of doing that. So we met on the 28th. And that's when we ended up coming up with the document you see. So we barely made the time frame and with just pre-planning per se on that time. And I'm going to end up leaving that as that.
All right. Is there any other discussion on the floor? Going once. Going twice. Oh.
One more point. We just had an article.
Can I please have your name and address? Sorry.
Yes, Wilfred Spring Advisory. We just had an article where we ended up taking the 2 days out, and it was in section 22.6, and it conflicted with the bylaw. So what the board did basically is a long-standing article since 1951. It's always been 2 days. All we did is put it into here so that we can make the timeline that they can provide you with our recommendations, both our votes and verbiage as to why we voted that way.
All right, we're going to go back to opening discussion on the floor. Does anyone wish to speak to this second part of the divided question? Going once. Going twice. 3 times with nobody speaking, we will go to a count. Not a count, I'm going to do voice vote first. So, all of those in favor of the motion to adopt 9-4 of the general bylaws as adjusted and presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against?
No.
All right, that passes at 6:57 p.m. All right. Nice job. All right, and I hand back, since we are moving on to the next article, back to our moderator. Thank you.
Okay, we're on to Article 5.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the Select Board to petition the Massachusetts General Court for special legislation as set forth below to establish an appointed Parks and Recreation Commission, be it enacted as follows. Notwithstanding the provisions of Section 2 of Chapter 45 of the General Laws, there is hereby established in said town a Parks and Recreation Commission, which shall consist of 7 members, each of whom shall be appointed by the Select Board for a term of 1 year. The initial members of said commission shall be members of the Recreation Commission in existence immediately prior to the effective date of this act, and they shall continue to serve the remaining portion of their term. Said commission shall be a policy-making board responsible for overseeing the management and maintenance of town-owned parks, fields, related facilities, and for providing year-round, high-quality indoor and outdoor recreation activities for children, adults with varying interests and physical abilities. It shall deliver diverse culturally, socially, mentally, and physically based programs. It shall establish suitable policies and guidelines relating to the progress it shall offer and the use, maintenance, improvement of the facilities under its oversight. The Commission shall have all the powers and duties granted by the various provisions of the general laws relative to park commissioners and recreation commissions, except insofar as the same may be inconsistent with the provisions of this Act. Mr. Moderator, would also state that the reason for this special legislation is there had been an era of assumptions that the town had park commissioners, and it was discovered that the town had never voted in the Mass General Law, and we are correcting this so we can carry on with some of the requirements that we already have within our bylaws. Thank you.
Do I have a second? Advisory?
On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 5 to the fall special town meeting, the advisory committee voted as follows. Yes 6, 0 no, 0 abstaining, 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. This special legislation would authorize the creation of a Parks and Recreation Commission and allow the town to appoint the 7-person board rather than have it be elected board. The current Recreation Commission is an appointed board. This special legislation would align the new Parks and Recreation Commission with our current Recreation Commission's design.
I'm going to open up the floor to discussion. Anyone, any discussion? All right, we'll go for a vote. All in favor of this article, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, article passes at 7:02. And by the way, this article passed unanimously. Okay, we're moving on to Article 6.
Mr. Moderator, I move, subject to the acceptance of the special act by the General Court, to amend Article 4 of the general bylaws as follows. Article 4 would be Parks and Recreation Commission. Section 9-16, membership, appointment, terms, vacancies. The Select Board shall appoint a Parks and Recreation Commission consisting of 7 members. The term for each member shall be 1 year. Any seat that becomes vacant during the 1-year term shall be filled by the appointing authority for the remainder of the unexpired term. Section 9-17, the powers and duties. The Commission shall have all the powers and duties granted by the various provisions of the general laws relative to park commissioners and recreation commissioners, except insofar as the same may be inconsistent with the provisions of the special legislation establishing said commission. Section 9-18, said commission shall be a policy-making board responsible for overseeing the management, maintenance of town-owned parks, fields, related facilities, for providing year-round, high-quality indoor and outdoor recreation activities for children and adults with varying interests and physical abilities. It shall deliver diverse culturally, socially, mentally, physically based programs. It shall establish suitable policies and guidelines relating to the programs it shall offer and the use, maintenance, and improvement of the facilities under its oversight.
Okay, we have the motion seconded. The article seconded. Advisory?
On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 6 to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows. 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. This article would, pending the passage and signing of the special legislation in Article 5, create the establishment bylaws for the Parks and Recreation Commission. It also updates the language of the Recreation Commission's existing bylaws.
I'll open up the floor to discussion. Any discussion on Article 6? All right, we're going to go to vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. This Article 6 passes unanimously at 7:05. Okay, we're going to move on to Article 7.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the Select Board to petition the Massachusetts General Court for special legislation as set forth below to establish a fund for the demolition of blighted properties. Be it enacted as follows. Section 1, open parenthesis A, close parenthesis. Notwithstanding Section 53 of Chapter 44 of the general laws or any other general or special law to the contrary, the Town of Templeton may establish a special fund for the deposit of any proceeds to the Town of Templeton from funds recaptured through demolition liens at state or federal grants or local appropriation fees, such proposed after December 31st, 2021. Interest earned on the fund shall be treated as general fund revenue to the town. Any balance remaining at the end of the fiscal year shall carry over to the next fiscal year and thereafter if not expended for the purposes set forth in this act. Open parenthesis B, close parenthesis. Proceeds from the fund shall be used at the discretion of the Select Board with further appropriation to secure, clear, make safe, or demolish, together with any associated costs, residential or mixed-use properties considered unsafe, dangerous, or unfit for human habitation under applicable building or health codes. Expenditures shall not be made and liabilities shall not be incurred in excess of the balance of the fund. The town administrator shall annually report to the Select Board on the total amount of receipts and expenditures for the fund for the prior fiscal year and for the current fiscal year through December 31st or of such date as the Select Board may by vote determine, together with such other information as the Select Board may by vote require. Section 2, this act shall take effect upon its passage.
Advisory?
Matthew Rivard, Chairman, Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 7 to the fall special town meeting, the committee voted as follows: 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. This article, if passed by the state legislature, would establish a revolving fund for the town to act on town-owned blighted properties, to be replenished by whatever grants, state reimbursements, and property sales the town accrues as a result of blighted property cleanup. The next article, Article 8, would put seed money into the revolving account for the town to start with. This legislation is the same as has been passed for the town of Athol.
I'll open up the floor for discussion.
Dana Blaze, 20 Turner Street. My question is, what's the advantage of the town keeping the interest, if there's any interest incurred from this article? Why doesn't the interest just stay in the fund to build it up?
Anybody have an answer?
Adam Lamontagne, Town Administrator. May I speak?
Yep, please.
So I believe the question was, why would the interest stay in the account? Why wouldn't it go, well, this would be a revolving fund, so the interest would stay in that account. Oh, the way it's going to be is if the interest and the establishment of this account is really to, if we were to get any kind of grants, state grants, we would be eligible by putting municipal money into this account, and then we would be able to then bring it in through the grant.
You've got it written as, this fund should be treated as general fund revenue of the town.
I'm going to turn this over to the accountant.
May I speak?
Yes, please.
Kelly Pomprion, town accountant. All the revenue that comes into the town has to be classified as general fund revenue unless it's stated in another way. It's a Mass General law. And this fund, as with a capital project, all of the interest that comes in that's earned becomes general fund revenue. At some point, the town, if it goes through to the free cash, just like we're doing in the next article, that money can then be voted and appropriated into that fund for, continued purpose. But the actual interest at the time has to go to the general fund by the Mass General law.
Did that answer your question, sir?
Yeah. My name's Steve Drury, 18 Drury Lane. I'm in favor of this totally. The fact of the matter is that I don't like the limitations of it, only to the extent that once the actions are done and the fund runs out of money, we have so many properties in town that are blight and terrible to the eyes, endangerment to the kids, and so forth. And so I think that we should vote this in. And this isn't the only limitations of the town. They can also fine, which they don't do, but we need to do. We need to enforce our bylaws by fining the individuals every single day. And I'm a little concerned also with the lien factors because, enforcing a lien is an interesting concept legally. And, just a do-nothing lien is like an IRS lien. A lien comes on to a person that may not have any property, and the bottom line is that the lien sits there, but unless he has property and it's sold, nobody's interested. So, when there's a fund and there's money to be had, we can actually get rid of some of the properties and expand the town in the correct way. This is a great move on the part of the board. I commend them for doing what they're doing. I also feel, though, that they should expand the present legislation in our bylaws to exercise the finding situations, because lots of people in town are violating our bylaws and using the properties as dumps and so forth. And when there's inhabitable situations, it affects an external obsolescence in the town, which is the neighbors, okay? We all have to live with it and see it every day, and it's just not fair in the long run. And not enough people in town understand what external obsolescence actually is, how it demises the property value, and the limitations of trying to get it resolved. So we really need this. Everyone should vote for this because Athol is correct. I did a little research. The state is willing to get rid of these blind properties and help with the matters. So at least we could number them down, because we have several of them. So it's a go, go, go for this. Thank you.
Any more discussion on Article 7? Okay, we're going to go to vote. All in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no. Okay, Article 7 passes at 7:14 unanimously. Up next, Article 8.
Mr. Moderator, I move, subject to the acceptance of the General Court of the Special Act establishing the fund, to appropriate the sum of $50,000 and no cents to make a deposit into the demolition revolving fund for the purpose of addressing problem properties which may require demolition, and to meet said appropriation by a transfer of said sum from certified free cash.
Do I have a second? Advisory?
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 8 to the fall special town meeting, the Advisory Committee voted as follows: 5 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 1 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. This article, pending passage and signing of the special legislation in Article 7, would deposit the seed money into the demolition revolving fund. It also makes us eligible for other grants regarding blighted properties and their remediation.
I'll open up the floor to discussion. Any discussion on Article 7? Or, sorry, Article 8. All right, we'll go to vote. All in favor, say yes. Yes. All opposed, say no. Okay, this article passes unanimously at 7:16. Article 9.
Mr. Moderator, Article 9. I move to dissolve the Senior Center Oversight Committee.
It's been seconded. Advisory?
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 9 to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows: 5 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 1 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. The Senior Center Oversight Committee has completed its obligations and is therefore no longer needed and should be dissolved. The Select Board is supervising the remaining repairs to the Senior Center, specifically the roof and the kitchen. The Council on Aging has been taking a more active role in the Senior Center's oversight.
Any discussion on Article 9? Discussion on Article 9. Okay, we're going to move to vote. All in favor, say yes. Yes. All opposed, say no. Okay, Article 9 passes unanimously at 7:18. Okay, we're on to Article 10.
Mr. Moderator, Article 10. I move to dissolve the Templeton Elementary School Building Committee upon satisfactory completion of the Massachusetts School Building Authority closeout process.
It's been seconded. Advisory?
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on the article to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows: yes 6, no 0, abstaining 0, absent 0. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. All submittals have been made to close out the process for Templeton Elementary School. We are waiting for approval from the state that the Massachusetts School Building Authority has signed off on the process. The TES Building Committee would be dissolved upon receipt of notification from the MSBA.
Discussion on Article 10? Any discussion on Article 10? All right, we're going to go to vote. All in favor, say yes. Yes. All opposed, say no. Okay, this article passes unanimously at 7:19. Okay, Article 11.
Mr. Moderator, Mike Curry, Select Board. I just have another I had another piece of information for that gentleman if he was interested in the actual law. Will you allow it?
Certainly, yes.
Okay. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, if you're looking for information on interest. Thank you. Article 11, special articles having to do with general fund submitted by the Select Board, majority vote required. I move to appropriate the sum of $49,447.00 for various special articles as generally described below. Treasurer Collector, tax title work, $17,500. Emergency management, insert $24,447. Baldwinville School caretaking, $7,500. And to meet said appropriation by a transfer of said sum from certified free cash.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, on to advisory.
Matthew Rivard, Chairperson Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 11 to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows. Yes 5, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. A note that one committee member recused themselves from deliberation on this article. This committee is in favor of the article being adopted by the town meeting. Regarding tax title work, the town is taking a more active role in going after property owners delinquent on their taxes and needs this money to do said work. Regarding emergency management insert, this money is provided by the CARES Act and will be going to purchasing emergency equipment and supplies needed by the town. This money is not going to pay for volunteers on the emergency management or CERT teams. Generally, emergency management is funded solely by grants, and this is a unique opportunity for the emergency management department to have additional funding to benefit the town. Regarding Baldwinville School caretaking, this is to maintain the building until the process of converting it into apartments can begin for reasons such as building preservation and security, cleaning vandalism, etc.
Open up the floor to discussion. Any discussion on Article 11? Okay, we'll go to vote. All in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no. Okay, this article passes unanimously at 7:23. Article 12.
Mr. Moderator, Article 12, Capital Budget General Fund. I move to appropriate the sum of $196,000 and no cents for various capital activities as generally described below. Highway, to purchase a 2021 cat loader in the amount of $183,500. Conservation, an additional appropriation for the River's Edge Conservation Project, $12,500. To meet said appropriation by a transfer of said sum from certified free cash.
Advisory.
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 12 to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows. 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. Regarding River's Edge, the Conservation Commission wants to get this project completed prior to the completion of the Baldwinville School apartment conversion and for the greater benefit of the town. These monies, along with money already on the books, will allow for successful completion. Regarding the 2021 cat loader, this is to replace a similar machine that has suffered catastrophic failure, specifically a transmission. that was identified after the FY 2022 capital budget was finalized. The failed machine will be traded in as part of the new cat loader's purchase, adding $20,000 to this for a total cost of $203,500. This is needed for the continued successful operation of the town DPW and for the proper maintenance of the town.
Open the floor to discussion. Any discussion on Article 12? Okay, we're going to go to vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, this article passed at 7:25. Article 13.
Mr. Moderator, I move pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 106, to make the position of tree warden an appointed position, with such appointment to be made by the Select Board for a term of 1 year. Oh, 3 years, sorry, for a term of 3 years.
Do I get a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Advisory?
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 13 to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows. Yes, 6. No, 0. Abstaining, 0. Absent, 0. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. This officially adopts and makes us compliant with Massachusetts general law to make the position of tree warden an appointable to a 3-year term by the Select Board.
Open the floor to discussion. Any discussion on Article 13? Okay, we're going to go to vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Oh, this article passed unanimously at 7:27. Article 14.
Mr. Moderator, Article 14, deposits to general fund stabilization and OPEB accounts submitted by the Select Board, majority vote required. I move to appropriate the sum of $355,500 and no cents to make deposits into operations, otherwise known as OPEX, and capital, otherwise known as CAPEX, stabilization accounts, and the OPEB reserve account as follows. OPEX, $250,000. CAPEX, $70,000. OPEB, $35,000. And to meet said appropriation by a transfer of said sum from certified free cash.
Second.
Advisory?
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 14 to the fall special town meeting, the advisory committee voted as follows. 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. These are deposits to our emergency rainy day funds. The advisory committee commends the town on their fiscal responsibility, allowing us to deposit these amounts to OPEX, CAPEX, and OPEB to keep the town prepared for the future.
Open the floor for discussion.
Justice Graves, 90 Queen Lake Road. I just wanted to say that with this appropriation that is going into the general fund for stabilization, this puts our total stabilization at, I believe, over $1.7 million at the end of this. And I would just, it's 1.2. And then it goes up.
1.2.
Okay. What I'm trying to get at, although in the spring it would push that over. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that we have had a very checkered financial history as a town over our lifetime, especially mine, and the fact that we are able to put certified free cash into our stabilization, I think, is a mode of good progress from the Select Board, properly encouraged by the Advisory Committee, and it is something that we have needed to do for a very long time. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Matthew Rivard, Chairman Advisory Committee. Again, we commend the town And the reason we do so is that we do have an advisory committee policy on stabilization funds. We recommend that the town have at least 5 to 10% of their annual operating budget in the OpEx account at all times. This deposit brings us inside of that guidance. So this is commendable, and we would also like to note that this is not the only deposit that the town is hoping to make this year. That when we come around to annual town meeting, the town is hoping to make another similar deposit to the 3 accounts as well. So that would put us into the $1.5 million range in the OpEx account at that point. So this is commendable by the town to have this, to be in this fiscally responsible of a position to have these monies in our stabilization accounts, so that, God forbid, it goes the other way, we have the ability to stabilize the town. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
That's good.
Mr. Moderator, I have a clarification on the what you see up on the screen. The written word says $355,500 and no cents. The amount that is listed afterwards is incorrect. It's $355,000. It should be 500. I have amended my motion that I've given to you and initialed. The 355. So the word is wrong. Okay. So the word is wrong. I'll have to make an amendment.
Okay, I'll open the, this has been amended properly. I'll open up the floor to discussion on Article 14. Go ahead.
Mr. Moderator, Adam Lamontagne, 17 Cherry Street, Town Administrator. If I can just say, if you look at this, the intention is to deposit one half here and then the other half at the annual town meeting. However, there's going to be, the select board will be taking up an amendment to the financial management policies to make that a reality, to deposit more in our reserves. So the current financial management policies, we wouldn't be able to deposit $355,000 here and $355,000 come the annual. I just want clarification so folks know we are going forward with a policy amendment at our next select board meeting to deposit more onto our reserves. So with that clarification, the amended policy would allow us to deposit the other half at the annual town meeting. Thank you.
Any discussion on Article 14? Any more discussion on Article 14?
Tony Joy, 8 Minuteman Drive. I just want to point out that you are correct, even in your youth, that this town, since I've been in town, was in financial disarray. It was a Board of Selectmen and the hiring of Mr. Carter Terenzini, who changed the financial course of this town, and it's carried on by Mr. Lamontagne and the current Select Board. I think people, when they did this, they should get credit. Our bond rating has never been higher. There's no reason to think as you continue to put funds into these accounts that the bond rating will just get better before we're at the top rating, which, while we don't want to borrow money, if we can all avoid it, it keeps our interest low. It keeps the interest low on those types of loans. Every town does have to borrow money from time to time. So I just want to make sure that the proper people get their credit of putting the town on the right financial path. And it's the previous select board, couple before that, and then, of course, the current select board and Mr. Terenzini and Mr. Lamontagne.
Any more discussion on Article 14? Thank you, sir, by the way, that was nice. All right, I'm going to move to vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. This article passes unanimously at 7:34. Article 15.
Mr. Moderator, Article 15, rescission of authorized by unissued debt. Submitted by the Select Board, majority vote required. I move to rescind authorized but unissued debt pursuant to the following town meeting approval. FEMA emergency storm drain repair from May 12, 2009. It was warrant Article 3, and the amount requested for rescission is $391,369.
Do I have a second? On to advisory.
Matthew Rivard, Chairman, Advisory Committee. On a motion to recommend a yes vote on Article 15 to the fall special town meeting, advisory voted as follows: 6 yes, 0 no, 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. The committee provides the following guidance on this article. The committee is in favor of this article being adopted by the town meeting. This article is to close out a debt account that the town had opened for a storm drain repair that it did not fully need the amount requested. By closing out this debt account, the town's debt ratio will be lowered. It will improve the town's position in the eyes of banks and creditors and may help improve the town's bond rating.
I'd like to open the floor for discussion. Any discussion on Article 15? Okay, we'll move to vote. All in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no. Okay, this article passes unanimously at 7:36. All right. I think that's it, right? Can I get a motion to dissolve the meeting?
So moved.
Seconded. All right, this meeting has now come to an end. Wait, hold on, I gotta take a vote, I'm sorry. All in favor, say yes? Yes. All opposed, say no? Okay, we are dissolved. This meeting is over, thank you.
I give it a try, and if the signs add up, why are we living a lie? If you work too hard, you won't have any fun before you die.
So the can collectors, great job today.
Thank you very much.
Tell us your name.
I'm Carolyn Sauls from Orange, aka Castle Rock and Color. And I'm Julie Johnson, also from Orange.
Nice.
We'll let Jules sing one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see you, Angie. Heading down south to the land of pines, thumbing my way in the North Carolina. Heading up the road